Hello students, this is Professor Faiz Raut from Jain College of Engineering Department of MBA. I'm teaching subject Legal and Business Environment. I'm in Module 5. Module 5 consists of Industrial Policies and Structure of Indian Economy. So there are two parts in Module 5. The first part includes Industrial Policies and Structure. It includes the planning process, the problems in industrial development during the plan period, classification of industries based on ownership, industrial policies, industrial strategy for the future, and new industrial policy of India in 1991, which took place. Okay, after these industrial policies and structures, we will be going to structure of Indian economy. Structure of Indian economy consists of public sector enterprises and private sector enterprises. What are the objectives of the public sector undertakings or PSUs? Their performance we are going to discuss, their shortcomings we are going to discuss. Then growth, problems and prospects of private sector. Okay. Then small scale industries or SSI, which are generally referred to as. Okay. Their role in the economy and the problems by these small scale industries face in the economy. Okay, then startups and their current state in India. Then privatization of some public entities, some public companies or some public sectors which are being given to private players, which in which the private players can enter. For example, airline sector was not privatized uh, until late 1990s or early 2000s, and later on when the airlines industry got privatized, Jet Airways and many other airlines started coming in. Okay, so there were many sectors which were only be held up by the public sector undertakings or the government of India or the government of the state. Later on, it was privatized. So that we are going to discuss here, and then lastly, disinvestments in this Indian public sector units. Okay, they are going to sell off the members membership or the sum of the part of the ownership in the public sector. Okay, after 1991, how this disinvestment happened, we are going to study this. Okay, so let's begin. First one, industrial policies and structure. Industrial policies of any country are designed to promote the development of industrial sector in the economy. Industrial sector generally refers to manufacturing sector or services sector. So when certain policies are made to boost up the manufacturing sector or to improve the services sector, this comes under industrial policies. And also industrial policies are integral part of any economic environment of a country. Okay, in 1991, Indian industrial policies abolished state control over some of the pertinent industrial sector. See, India got its independence in 1947. So from 1947 to 1990, India followed a certain kind of industrial policies. There were many amendments, there were many resolutions in between all these years, but there was a kind of a more economy which was more influenced by the socialist kind of a structure. Okay, it was a mixed economy, but it was influenced by a socialist kind of a culture. But till 1991, but after 1991, things changed. Okay, you must know the liberalization which happened in 1991. Okay, next is industrial India. Okay, uh, on 6th April 1948, Government of India came out with the industrial policy resolution. This resolution was the first resolution in the independent India. Okay, India, in its early stages of framing policy, embraced a socialist structure aimed at bringing social equality and welfare in the society. Okay, students, and this was the period in which the Cold War was happening. Okay, Cold War was the not the actual war, but there were the entire world was divided into socialist kind of an economy. Okay, more influenced by the Russian or the USSR at that time, and some of the nations were influenced by the capitalist kind of an economy, which were influenced by the USA, America. Okay, so world was actually divided into two kinds of countries. Okay, one kind of country supporting the socialist kind of a structure, and one kind of company was supporting the capitalist kind of a structure. So India was supporting the socialist kind of a structure, and India had good relationship with USSR at that time. So Indian policy, industrial policies were more influenced by the socialist structure. Okay, next, the policy thus laid down the foundation stone of a mixed economy in India's industrial structure. Okay, no doubt India supported the socialist kind of a structure, but India made sure that India will not be totally socialist. Okay, there will be a mixed economy. Mixed economy means there will be some public sector undertakings along with some private sector undertakings, and there were some sectors in which only public sector was allowed. Okay, for example, defense, railways, airways, post and telegraph, and many such things. Okay, and there were some sectors in which both public and private sectors were there. Okay, next, industrial policy resolutions in 1948. Okay, students, there are okay students, there are mainly three resolutions. Okay, first is resolution in 1948, 1956, and 1977. There are various resolutions and many amendments during this course of time, but there are three main things, three main resolutions which I have highlighted till 1991. Okay, so the first one, which is Industrial Policy Resolution in 1948. It was basically the industries, okay, were divided into four broad categories. In the first category came the government controlled sectors such as arms, ammunition, atomic energy, and production and maintenance of railway equipments, ownership of railways. This was the first sector. Okay, and next kind of industry were development of new industries by states undertaking such as coal, iron and steel, aircrafts, etc. So the first one was mostly the central government used to control. The second kind of industries, mostly the state governments were in control. The next third one is the sector of basic importance under the plan of central government. Okay, basic important sectors which are important for the common public of the country. Those sectors were taken. For example, some of the sectors of animal husbandry and agriculture and all those sectors where in which the central government had eye on those sectors. Okay, they used to keep a watch. Then the fourth one, the remainder sectors, which were the sectors which were not included in these first three, were given to private people also. Okay, they were supposed to participate in those sectors. Then next one is Industrial Policy Resolution in 1956. Uh, in 1956, there were some resolutions, some important resolutions, which were done, apart from those earlier resolutions in 1948, which was done, and 1956 saw a increase in the performance of these sectors. And if you know, 1956 is also one of the important date because Companies Act was formed in this. So Companies Act was formed in 1956, was one of the resolutions of industrial policy, and it was formed in order to boost the private sector undertakings. Okay, the industrial policy intended to produce outcomes on following parameters. Okay, to accelerate economic growth, to expedite industrial progress, developed heavy industries in the sense heavy manufacturing industry or heavy electrical components. Certain industries like BHEL, which is presently now Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, or BEL, okay, Bharat Electronics Limited, okay, ONGC, all these were given importance at that time, and some of them were started at that time. Okay, fourth is expand public sector undertakings. Okay, there were public sector undertakings only in few locations of India, some of the metro cities, But so they were planning to expand the public sector undertakings to certain two-tier cities. Okay, then fifth is strengthen the growing cooperative sector. Then sixth is ensure progress towards a socialist pattern of the society and mixed economic system. Okay, still in 1956, socialist pattern of society was there, and they were slowly the socialist pattern was fading off, and mixed economy system was more given importance. Some of the capitalist kind of sector, capitalist kind of economy was also given a importance in this 1956 resolution. Okay, next last one is industrial policy segment of 1977. Now till 1975 actually, uh, the only ruling party was the Congress. Okay, after 1975 there was a national emergency in India. Okay, it is the only till now it is the one and only national emergency which has happened. In national emergency, and there was a huge protest. Okay, and if you know some of the politics, there was a person called Jai Prakash Narayan. Okay, he led the protest, and they toppled the central government at that time. And in 1975, Morarji Desai, a leader of Janata Party, came into being. So this government which was formed with the coalition of Janata Party. The main was Janata Party here. So this government which was formed, it was more proactive towards socialist, no doubt, but they decentralized the system. Okay, it proactively advocated the idea of decentralization, and thereby the idea of strengthening small and medium scale industries was there. Okay, so these small scale industries, the medium scale industries, even the micro industries were given importance in this government, and many of the policy changes were happened in 1977. Okay, the new policy was inclined towards seeking of self-reliance. So small people were given importance. Okay, so but in after the end of certain 1977, the government again got collapsed, and again again this Janata Party got dismantled, and again the Congress government formed, and again the industrial policy got changed after 1977 onwards. And this which was changing in 1985 around, there was another certain changes in policies. Okay, but that's not that important as compared to 1991. So after this 1977, I'll directly go to 1991. Okay, so one more thing I forgot. In 1977, the main characteristics were aimed to focus on small scale industries, cottage industries, especially in the rural areas and small towns. Okay, it called for protection of sick industrial units in order to prevent unemployment. Sick industrial units are those companies which are called as sick companies, those companies which are in business from more than 5 years definitely, but after these 5 years, okay, they are facing losses, and for continuous losses every year, and they are not able to do a business, or they are not able to handle their assets or liabilities, or whatever the reason is, they are continuously posting losses in their balance sheets. So these kind of industries are very dangerous, that the industry might close down, they might wind up the business, and the people working there will become unemployed. So to avoid this, there was certain rules and regulation in order to take care of these sick industrial units, to protect these sick industrial units, to avoid the unemployment. Okay, next is it redefined the role of large scale industries to complement the requirements of small scale industries. Okay, there were certain large scale industries which were manufacturing products at a cheaper cost, and they were selling those products at cheaper cost. So this was hampering the small scale industries, because in small scale industries, when you are manufacturing certain products, the cost of the product it increases because the economies of scale is not there in this, which is there. The economies of scale is there for large scale industries, not for small scale industries. So in order to protect these small scale industries, uh, certain things were not allowed to be manufactured by large scale industries. For example, this kind of achar or papad, or these bhujia and all those small things which the small scale industry used to manufacture, the large scale industries were never allowed to manufacture in those days. Nowadays we get we have companies like Haldirams who manufacture many of the bhujiyas and everything. Then we have mothers who have a brand of achars, and and we have a company called Lijjat who manufactures papad. So all these industries came very late. It was not allowed for the large scale industry, for the companies to manufacture these small items, small household items. Okay, they were only protected for small scale industries. Okay, and the last one is, it called for strengthening of public sector enterprises to meet the basic consumer needs in the country. At that time, the public sector enterprises were kind of a king of the economy. Okay, because they had the monopoly, like we have railways nowadays, or the electricity board. They had monopoly. So there was no better check on them, whether the business is doing good, or whether the employees are working properly. There was a lack of check on these things. So the public sector undertakings were sometimes posed losses, and as it was a public sector undertaking, government used to help them. Okay, so to avoid these losses, it was required that these public sector undertakings were being strengthened properly. Okay, so there was some amendments in 1977 to strengthen the public sector enterprises as well. Okay, so this was all about the main resolutions of the three. Okay, next we'll talk about industrial problems during the plan period. Okay, this I'll talk about in next lecture. Okay, so thank you for listening.